Using a capo. What is a capo? How do you use it? And how can you use it as a beginner? So this is a beginner's guide to using the capo. First things first, a capo is the same thing as just taking this part of your guitar, the nut, and just moving it along this way. And what happens if you move something along this way? The notes become higher because the string gets shorter. So just like if you take your finger here and you play the first note, each note is higher in pitch than the note before it. So if you put your capo on the first fret, like that, just put your capo slightly behind the fret, and make sure to not bend the strings, like to put it down and then move it so it bends the strings. Just put it down. Then this is going to be higher than if you have no capo. Okay, so what do you need to know if you want to use the capo properly? You need to know your musical alphabet. Okay, you need to know it's A sharp, B doesn't have a sharp, so it goes straight to C sharp, D sharp, E doesn't have a sharp, F sharp, G sharp, and then it starts again at A. Okay, so if you want to play in the key of G, right? So you want to use your G chords. You know these 4 chords already: G, C, E minor, D, or you play them like this: G, C, D, E minor. But you want to play in the key of G sharp. Well, where do you need to put your capo? Well, if you have your G chord here, okay, and you want to play in G sharp, that means, look at your musical alphabet. How far do you need to go? From G to G sharp, it's just one step, okay? So that means put your capo on 1. So this chord will now be a G sharp, okay? And this chord will be a C sharp. And the E minor will be a F minor, because E, 1 step up, goes to F, okay? So everything moves up 1 step if the capo is 1 fret high. Okay, so what if you want to play with your G chords in the key of A or B? Let's say the key of B, all right? You want to play in the key of B. Well, how far do you need to go? So if you're using your G chord, then you want to get to B, then you're going to have to move how many steps up? So G to G sharp, that's 1 step. G sharp to A, that's another step, that's 2 steps. Okay. A to A sharp, that's 3 steps. Okay. A sharp to B, it's 4 steps. So you need to put your capo 4 steps higher. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you use your G chords and you play in the key of B. So this is a B and this is going to be an E. Now you can count that up from C 4 times higher, it's going to be an E. Okay? So the bottom line of using a capo is to know your musical alphabet off by heart. Remember, all the letters have sharps, A to G, except B and E. Alright. Now we'll talk about flats later in another video, but this is just using a capo for beginners, okay? Now the main thing is that you have to remember also, an easy way is to, when you go to look at the chords in a chord sheet, usually at the top you'll see it written capo 1, capo 2, and then the chords are relevant to the capo. So, if you're an ultimate guitar, you're looking for the chords for a song, see that the chords are in G, and then you see it's capo 1. Then you just put your capo on 1 and you play with the chords, then it should work with the original song. Okay. The other thing that you need to know about using a capo is you can shift the capo around. If you don't want to play with the original song, then you can shift your capo around to find a place that suits your voice. So you can shift the capo anywhere. So let's say you're learning a song and it says capo 4 using the G chords. But you see it's too high for you to sing, so you just say, I'm gonna play it in capo 2. But you see it's just nice for you to sing. But then maybe sometimes somebody sings with you and he's like, I can't sing, it's too low or something. Then you move your capo up, you go to capo 7, you play it then. But you see it's just... Okay, that was bad. But you get the idea of what I'm trying to get at. You can move your capo around. But what you can't do is if you're playing with a band or you're playing with other musicians, then you can't say, okay, well, I would just want to play with capo 3 and they're playing in another key you got to find the right capo for the right key. Okay. And as you learn more keys, let's say you're playing in the key of D, and you want to play your D chords, D, G, A, B minor, and you want to use your capo using the D chords, then you're going to take if you want to play with the key of E using the D chords, then you're going to say, okay, D to E, how many steps is that? D, D sharp, E. That's 2 steps, okay? So then you put your capo on 2, and you use your D chord, then suddenly your D is now an E chord. E, E. You see, that's the same. Alright, so that's the basic concept of it. Once you have it, go for it. Put the capo everywhere and play around with it. One thing to note when you're buying a capo, you have to remember that you get different capos for classical guitars. I don't have a classical one here. And acoustic guitars. Classical guitars are the ones that have like nylon strings on them. So almost like plastic strings. And acoustic guitars are the ones that have the steel strings on. Acoustic and electric guitars use the same type of capo, but classical guitars use a flat capo. And sometimes they don't work on both guitars. So just remember to get an acoustic guitar capo. Have a nice day, guys. See you in the next video.